When I first started doing video, I made a lot of mistakes. A lot of really embarrassing and completely avoidable mistakes. And it caused some good ideas to be ruined because I wasn't able to film it right. In the beginning, it's usually just you doing everything, and it can be tough, but a great learning experience when all you can blame is yourself. So I thought I'd give a few tips on some common mistakes so you can avoid the same ones that I made. The first mistake I used to always make was not holding my shots for long enough. I used to shoot something and then say, okay, I'm done with it, I shot it, move on really quickly. But then I would get in the edit and be really frustrated because I didn't leave enough room at the end for a transition or a dramatic effect. And it's such an easy fix to just hold on to that shot a little bit longer than you think you need to. And when I realized it was something I was doing, I still had trouble remembering to hold the shot. It's in my nature to move quickly. I'm not very patient, so I'll say, okay, I got it and good, let's move on. And whenever I jerk away from the shot, I'd look at myself in the edit and be like, this director is an idiot. So my advice and what I try to do now is hold on to the shot for at least 3 to 4 seconds longer than I think I need to. And let's say it's a moving shot. If I'm doing a gimbal shot, maybe instead of stopping, I'll say I only need to get this much of the shot, but I'm just gonna keep moving. Or if I'm moving backwards, I'm just gonna keep moving backwards for 3 more seconds to give myself a little bit more room than I think I need. The next mistake I used to always make was not making a shot list for everything. I've always known the importance of shot lists, but I underestimated just how important they were to make for every single situation. For me, personally, I need to plan before things. I know there are some people that are a little bit more spontaneous and more intuitive when it comes to filmmaking. They kind of know the right shots, but I find when I take that approach, I usually end up leaving something out. So for me, making a shot list before every shoot is so crucial now. And when this really comes in handy is for unplanned shoots or things like events or documentary or stuff where you feel like you can't completely plan the type of shots that you're gonna get. But even then, I think that's when it's more important to have at least a couple of shots, a couple of criteria that you know you're gonna need to get. So if it's a wedding, I know I'm gonna need to get the kiss. I know I'm gonna need to get a close-up of their hands grabbing, or I know certain shots that I'm gonna need to get. I'm not exactly sure when I'm gonna get them, but I know at some point in that day I'm gonna need to get them, so I'm planning to get those shots. And then everything else is just bonus points. I think that even in completely unplanned shoots, say you show up somewhere and you're just asked to shoot something, even in those situations, I'll take like the first 5 or 10 minutes to write down a few of the shots that I think I would want to get or need to get for the situation. And then I'll start shooting. And it might seem like you're wasting time, but I promise you, it's gonna make things way faster and way more smooth if you just take a little bit of time to plan before you start shooting. Another mistake that I used to make all the time was not getting multiple angles of my shots. Getting multiple angles will really up your quality and improve your storytelling ability. And when you're editing, it's gonna help you a lot more if you have more to choose from. In the same vein as my first tip, I used to get the shot and then be done with it and move on quickly. But I think if you have the time, you should take a little bit more time to say, maybe I can get another angle of the same shot. And once you're in the editing room, you can switch between those angles, and it'll allow you to change the pace of the film without necessarily making the story faster or slower. So what I mean by that is if you have multiple angles, you can make a fast-paced film out of something that's very mundane. Someone drinking coffee can be 5 different shots and it makes it so dramatic. You've seen this before in certain fight scenes where someone will punch someone and it'll be like 3 different angles of the punch, and it adds to the weight of that punch and it makes it a different pacing rather than something really quickly. So I've used this with a lot of things where I get multiple angles of my shots because it's really going to help you to up your storytelling quality and have more room to work around with the pacing. And lastly, a big mistake of mine was not paying attention to the background in my film. I am a very singularly focused person, so it's easy for me to set up the lighting and say, okay, the light's here, make sure that the person is focused and the composition of the shot looks good, and then I'll show it to someone and they'll be like, yeah, the shot looks great, but why'd you leave that coffee cup in the background? And I'm like, oh my god, how did I forget the coffee cup? So if you just take a little more time to reevaluate the background, it's really gonna help you out a lot. And if you have someone that's helping you shoot, or just a friend along with you, maybe even say, hey, can you look at this real quick? Does this look good to you? And they can look at it with fresh eyes, because maybe you're not able to see everything correctly. And even going further than that, sometimes there's nothing wrong with the background, but you can spruce it up a lot more by adding little objects or colors that will complement the scene. You don't have to super plan for this. It doesn't have to be that much, but I found that it helps way more than you think it does to just put a plant behind the person, or a vase with a complementary color behind the person, or a couple of flowers. These things really help to make the image much less boring, and that can up your quality way more than you think. So those are a lot of the mistakes that I've made. Those were embarrassing mistakes when I made them, and I remember being very frustrated when looking at myself in the editing room and thinking, wow, this director sucks, and then thinking, oh yeah, I'm the director. It's not a great feeling. So I'm hoping that this will help you guys not to make the same mistakes as me. Let me know what your favorite tip was, and if you're brave, let me know what some of the mistakes are that you made or still make to this day. I know there's a lot of mistakes. Some of these mistakes I still make till this day. Hope this gave you a lot of value. I hope that you are able to become a bit of a better filmmaker from my tips. Make sure to click that bell and hit subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.